Alright, so now we're going to be rendering our keyboard in Keyshot. So I have, in this case, 2 cameras. My new cam I wouldn't use, so I'm just going to right click and delete this so I don't get confused. But I have 2 cameras here. Okay, you might only have 1. That's fine. 1 camera is sufficient. But I have 2 cameras. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I've saved. I'm going to go to my render tools. And I'm going to go to render. We're not doing a still image. Okay, I'll show how to do a still image, but we're going to do animation. So I'm going to go here. My resolution for this is like crazy high right now, so I'm going to drop this down to 1280 by 720. Okay, now it should automatically set to that. Now it gets these proportions from this image. So 960 by 540 is the same proportions as 1280 by 720. If these are different, okay, then these won't allow us to set to the correct thing. We don't want video output. We do want frames output. And because I have multiple cameras, I'm going to say keyboard keyshot. I'm going to go to this, and I'm going to say customize. And I'm going to delete this system render, and I'm going to add in camera, active camera. Okay, so what that means is that when it renders, it's going to render out keyboard keyshot dot orbit cam. Okay, that way I know, like, hey, there is a orbit camera inside there. And my separator is going to be an underscore. So keyboard keyshot underscore orbit cam. There we go. And we're going to hit render layers. I'm going to hit all render passes. Create multi-layer file. And this will automatically default to like your computer's public folder for some reason. So I'm going to paste this. I'm going to go back to my images here. So I'll make a new folder called images. This is where things are going to get rendered. So I have scenes where I've saved my Keyshot file, my export. My source images is where I'm bringing my textures, and my images is where I'm going to be exporting my images at. Okay, including transparency, all of this stuff. And right now, if I go look at my cameras, I'm in my orbit cam. I'm going to add this to the queue. Okay, if I only have 1 camera, I can just hit render. But because I have multiple cameras, I'm going to say add to queue. Then I'm going to go to my other camera. I'm going to add this one to the queue. Okay, so there's our stuff. Now, it's not rendering yet. I'm just going to go under my lighting. I'm going to make sure this is set to product. That'll turn on self shadows, global illumination, ground illumination. I do want to make sure I don't have my ground actually on. Environment, don't want ground shadows, ground reflections, no flattening of ground. Okay, so now back to render, we save. Now I go to the queue, and here's my pieces. Okay, so then I can just hit process queue, and it'll go through and it'll render all of this one because it's checked. And then when it's done, it'll render all of this one. Now, it looks like it's still at 151. I think it's just the frame that I'm at right now. I'm just double checking. Animation, yes. Frames output, yes. Okay, yeah. Entire duration, that's what I was looking for. Okay. Yep, everything should be good. Right. So I'm going to hit process queue, and then when it's done rendering, we'll come back and see what to do next. So I opened up the file after it was done. Now this is a little bit bigger than it'll be seen. I think, where's my... one of these, enter the view, bring the image. Yeah, this is roughly about 1280 by 720. And it looks pretty clean except for that vignette in the back. It looks very banded. Okay, so I didn't show how to update those settings because I wanted you to see that first. Okay, so in the render area, there's an options where it says samples per frame, and we can take this up to, let's say, 256. And then if we hit render again, we'll get a cleaner render version. Okay, so that's 1280 by 720, and ideally you would kind of see this as you're going through also. The zoom's not going to work, or is not working. Typically it does work. There it goes. Okay, so you'll be able to see the cleanliness of it, but obviously when I was zoomed in, you could see it a bit more. The vignetting looks a bit better. So yeah, we're just going to leave this and then let it go.